right now at 7.
We live in an area that the droughts are getting worse and worse.
Tonight, dry conditions and the lack of rain could force one part of the Bay Area to do something that hasn't been done in more than 30 years.
You don't believe in climate change, you don't believe in science, you believe your own damn eyes.
What it suggests is the large number of continued layoffs and volatility.
The puzzling problem tonight for the labor market. Why jobless claims aren't budging, even though so many Bay Area businesses are desperate to hire.
And Vern Glenn joins us with a big announcement from the Warriors, what it means for fans itching to get inside Chase Center.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. It's great to start getting back to normal.
Right now on the KPIX News at 7 and streaming on CBS and Bay Area. Water-saving proposals are a real possibility in Marin County in the next couple weeks. If approved, it'd be the first time in more than 3 decades that residents there would face a mandate. Good evening. I'm Alan Martin, in for Ken Bastida.
And I'm Elizabeth Cook. We have team coverage on these dry Bay Area weather conditions, beginning with KPIX5's Kenny Choi in Marin County tonight.
This would be one of the first concrete steps in addressing the extremely dry conditions over the last 2 years. If this proposal is approved, this area would be under mandatory water conservation rules for the first time in more than 30 years. Watering lawns this year could be dramatically reduced if newly proposed rules are approved in the midst of ongoing dry conditions.
Wear your withered lawn with pride that you're supporting the community in this call for action.
We're a pretty wasteful culture, and we live in an area that the droughts are getting worse and worse.
Rainfall is at historic lows. The district has received only 20 inches since last July, well below the average of 52 inches a year since it began recording data in 1879. It's the second lowest total in more than 140 years.
The nature of the rainfall pattern the last couple of years actually hit us worse than the snowpack.
Receding water levels at nearby reservoirs tell part of the story. Storage capacity is at historic lows, down to 53% this year.
This is really happening now because it looks like we're going to hit that trigger. The trigger for mandatory is that we have storage of 40,000 acre feet.
This is a me first culture, unfortunately, and I kind of weep for the future. Just too many damn people is the biggest problem.
If the mandatory rules are approved, watering lawns would be limited to 1 day per week with towns on an alternating schedule. Washing cars at home with hose nozzles would still be allowed for now. According to the U.S. Drought Monitor, more than 90% of California right now is experiencing at least moderate drought conditions. The board district will vote on the matter on April 20th. In Tiburon, Kenny Choi, KPIX 5.
Chief Meteorologist Paul Hagan joins us now to put this all into perspective. Now, Paul, how bad are we looking Bay Area wide right now?
It depends specifically where you are, but the entire Bay Area is classified as being in drought conditions. We got the newest update from the U.S. Drought Monitor today. The only major change from the update last week is that the Santa Cruz Mountains now, instead of being classified as abnormally dry, are also in moderate drought conditions. That's basically for the southern half of the Bay Area and along the coast. Then you get into this transition zone of severe drought. That includes most of the Tri-Valley and extends into the North Bay, and then extreme drought the farther north you go. Believe it or not, there's another category called exceptional drought. Fortunately, we don't have that on the map at this point, but as we head into the driest time of year, that's certainly possible that we are going to reach that threshold. And we've been in drought conditions across the Bay Area for more than a year. This is a map from Climate Central, with whom we partner to kind of just show you the impacts of climate change, both around the Bay Area and across the country. And look how much of the western U.S. in the red shaded areas, including all the Bay Area, been in drought conditions, regardless of which category of drought conditions, for over 52 weeks. And this is a historical trend. This is 120 years of data, which is statistically significant. The droughts are always cyclical. Everything in the climate is. But they have been getting longer, more frequent, and deeper drought conditions have been the pattern, especially over the past 50 to 60 years or so. Unfortunately, we don't have any rain in the 7-day forecast. We'll take a look at what we do have in store for us as we head closer to the weekend in just a few minutes.
All right, Paul. Thank you.
Well, all this as Governor Newsom is unveiling a new plan to get California fire ready. It includes $500 million towards combating future wildfires.
We've got to do more in terms of forest management. We've got to do more in terms of vegetation management. We've got to do more getting in to our forests. More suppression strategies, more prevention strategies, more regional, long-term, medium-term strategies, and a greater sense of urgency than ever in contemporary California history.
The package would include $125 million from greenhouse gas reduction funds. The other $411 million would come from the general fund. And the governor also hopes to draw on federal disaster prevention grants.
The hots are getting hotter. The dries are getting drier. There's a new reality. If you don't believe in climate change, you don't believe in science, you believe your own damn eyes.
Lawmakers are expected to vote on the plan as early as Monday. If passed, Governor Newsom says he would sign it on Tuesday and would start immediately on some of those projects.
Right now, California is in the thick of an employment disconnect. Jobless claims are the highest they've been in 3 months. However, some industries are still struggling to find workers. KPIX 5's Len Ramirez on what's not adding up.
Well, this is a very unusual situation. Unemployment in California is spiking, but you could walk into practically any of the restaurants behind me and get a job right now. Restaurant server Marina Manzano has been laid off twice, once in the first shutdown, then again in the December surge.
It was very hard because before I never been out of work. And then all of a sudden, you have to start learning how to survive.
Recurring layoffs like hers are what's behind the latest spike in California unemployment. 145,000 jobless claims were filed last week, up 16,000 from the week before, the highest number since the first week of January.
California's numbers are going up.
And labor attorney and former head of the EDD, Michael Bernick, found 75% of California's jobless claims were from workers' second or third layoff.
What it suggests is the large number of continued layoffs and volatility, businesses bringing back people, but then laying them off again.
Business owners say it's been all but impossible to keep a stable workforce.
Well, you would hire people back and then you would have a shutdown and then you'd have to lay them off again.
Now hospitality workers are back in demand as restaurants are free to move up to 50% capacity.
Front of the house, back of the house, servers, hosts.
She's HR director for a South Bay restaurant group that has hundreds of openings, but no one's applying.
We're kind of wondering where everyone went.
One factor could be the jobs just don't pay enough. Workers have found that for jobs paying less than $25,000 a year, they can actually bank more money by staying on unemployment. One manager says it's threatening the economic rebound.
Even when things are opened up 100%, I think a lot of businesses will not being able to open up as much as they want because of the hiring issues right now.
Some restaurants are coming up with creative solutions to get more people in the door, such as offering financial incentives or bonuses to employees who can bring in their friends or family. In San Jose, Len Ramirez, KPIX 5.
Well, more people are becoming eligible for the COVID vaccine in the Bay Area, but there's still a lot of concern about the supply. California just announcing it is expecting a nearly 90% drop in the Johnson & Johnson vaccine supply next week, partly because of a manufacturing mix-up. Bay Area health officials are expecting the supply to drop for about a week, but they say it doesn't mean that vaccinations will stop.
Last week, we actually got a lot of Johnson & Johnson. We had nearly 20,000 doses. Next week, we're only going to get 2,300 doses.
We built a lot of resilience into the system. We really over-ordered, if you will. And frankly, I'm delighted that we did that. So it's given us the resiliency to make up for J&J's fiasco.
Taking a live look at Chase Center right now. Tonight, Warriors fans got the news they've waited over a year for. Starting 2 weeks from tomorrow, they'll be back watching games from the stands.
What a sight. Vern Glenn joining us now with the latest on Dub Nation, returning just in time for the team's playoff push.
And if the Dubs are playoff relevant 2 weeks from tomorrow, look out. The team announced that fans will be allowed to return for games starting April 23rd at 35% capacity. That's just over 6,000. Tickets go on sale starting next Wednesday. And for Dub Nation, it's about time.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. It's great to start getting back to normal.
I'd say I would be pretty comfortable as long as everyone kept their hands to themselves and wore a mask.
As long as you stay 6 feet away from people, then you shouldn't infect anyone, so I'm sure it'd just be fine. going to a game.
Even at 35% capacity, the arena will still need to follow the state's physical distancing rules. Fans will also need to provide proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test within 48 hours of a game. That Friday, April 23rd game, the Warriors will host the Denver Nuggets. It is a countdown of sorts for Warriors president and chief operating officer Rick Welch, who announced today that he will retire at the end of the season, his 47th in the NBA. Welch will be on hand with roughly 6,300 happy fans at Chase Center for that April 23rd game against the Denver Nuggets.
He has done a great job with that team.
I might have to do a live shot, a first ever Friday live shot from Chase Center in honor of that occasion.
Why not?
That will be amazing. That would be so good to see you live at sports. Perfect.
That's right.
All right, Vern, thanks.
Up next, the San Francisco Giants are also trying to keep fans safe. The plan for their home opener tomorrow.
President Biden gets tough on gun violence, how he used a Bay Area police chief to get his message across.
It was a great opportunity for the president and his team to look to me to be in the room and represent law enforcement.
Plus, who's ahead after the first round of the Masters and the player who hit his own dad with a golf ball today at Augusta.
But first, the new budget airline servicing the North Bay. Details on the $20 fares. A new budget airline launched today, Avelo Airlines, offering routes from Burbank to 11 destinations on the West Coast. To kick off its service, One-way fares start at $19, but it's going to cost you extra to check bags or pick your seats in advance. Flights do begin April 28th, and the first one's going to go from Burbank to Santa Rosa.
Live look at Oracle Park tonight. The Giants are getting ready for their home opener tomorrow afternoon against the Rockies. And for the first time in a long time, real live fans will be in the stands. Chopper 5 flew over Oracle this afternoon. We spotted a message on the first baseline urging fans to vax up. Anyone heading to games this season will need to show proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test within 72 hours of a game. The Giants are offering free rapid tests through Dignity Health.
Well, he's no cardboard cutout either. Paul is back. And hey, tomorrow, a perfect night for spring baseball in the Bay Area if you take a jacket, I guess.
Yeah, the game starts at 1:35 in the afternoon. So if you have a seat in the sunshine, then maybe you'll feel a little bit warmer. But
maybe
April in San Francisco, of course it's going to be cool and breezy. Let's take a look at the forecast for the Giants home opener tomorrow afternoon. First pitch is at 1:35 after all the opening day festivities or home opener festivities. Temperature is going to be at 58 degrees. That's our high for the day. It's going to happen around 1:30, 2 o'clock, and then we're going to start cooling off, as usually happens as the onshore breeze reasserts itself. Cool and breezy throughout the game, so layer up appropriately. And if that sounds familiar, well, yeah, there's not going to be a whole lot of change in the forecast tomorrow, but as we head into the weekend, we are going to see a slightly warmer weather pattern taking over. The winds farther up in the atmosphere aren't going to change much, but just a bit more of a tilt towards that direction that runs parallel to the coast, and that allows temperatures to warm up a little around the bay, more so farther inland. Take a look outside right now. Looking west from the top of the mark, looking awfully good. Sutro Tower still in the clear right now. Been in this pattern all week where at about this time of evening, Sutro Tower is usually getting surrounded by fog. That's holding off the coast for now. Temperatures are still on the cool side, mid-50s in both San Francisco and Oakland. Elsewhere, temperatures are in the 60s. Pleasant weather out there this evening. It's not as breezy as it's been the past couple evenings. Temperatures are going to drop off tonight down into the mid to upper 40s for most of us. Just a little cooler, as usual, in the valleys of the North Bay. We are going to start off tomorrow morning with some of that low cloud cover and fog, but it's not going to be as widespread, and it's not going to last very long. It backs up towards the coast and dissipates already by mid to late morning. Temperatures, though, aren't going to be quite as mild as they were today. Made it up to almost 60 degrees in San Francisco today, a degree or two cooler tomorrow. Still mid-50s right along the coast, but a stronger wind is going to push that cooler air just a bit farther inland. Temperatures farther inland still aren't going to be bad, upper 60s and low 70s, with the warmest spots east of the Diablo Range reaching into the low to mid 70s. In terms of any rain chances, we talked about the drought situation during our last segment. You had to look way down the line of the forecast. Forget about the 7-day outlook. You got to look at the 10-day forecast, and there is just a hint of maybe some moisture trying to make a run towards the Bay Area by next week, the end of next week and the following weekend, but that is a slim chance. I'm not going to pin my hopes on it, but we're definitely going to keep an eye on it. It's not until we reach the middle of May that we really start to abandon hope of any showers headed our way. Temperatures are going to warm up over the weekend, especially away from the Bay, and then they stay warm next week, and even temperatures around the Bay are going to reach up into the mid-60s. Still cooler along the coast with that fog, again, making its way inland to start the day and then backing up each afternoon. We're going to have another update coming up at 11 o'clock on that weekend warm-up.
We'll look for it then. Thanks, Paul.
Top headlines tonight, looking live out at the White House. Today, President Biden called gun violence a, quote, international embarrassment and unveiled a series of executive actions aimed at curbing it. They include a move to crack down on ghost guns and tighten regulations on pistol stabilizing braces like the one used in last month's Colorado shooting. Oakland Police Chief Lerone Armstrong was invited to the White House for the announcement.
It was a great opportunity for the president and his team to look to me to be in the room and represent law enforcement, knowing my commitment to reduce gun violence and the violence that we experience in Oakland, and knowing that all of the things that he spoke about today were critical to the needs of Oakland.
And a rough start for Rory McIlroy at the Masters in Augusta. He shot a 76. This one went right and hit someone in the leg. Turned out it was Rory's dad. Justin Rose was 2 over through his first 7 holes, and after that, he caught fire, picking up 7 birdies. And Alan Rose now leads the field by 4 after shooting an opening round of 65.
Did Rory's dad get to keep the ball? I think that's the least he could do.
I don't know.
Sign it, autograph it for him.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall at their dinner tonight.
Indeed. All right, Liz, thanks. Up next, the group that says PG&E needs to be held accountable for more than just fires, what it wants regulators to do.
What we need is a takeover of PG&E, not a makeover.
Also, an alarming number of dead whales washing up on Bay Area shores, including another one just today. Then later, Yosemite's big summer announcement, what you need to know to make sure your getaway goes according to plan. And coming up all new at 11, for some, the idea of returning to normal is causing as much anxiety as the initial lockdown. Tonight, on the road to recovery, a look at how to navigate re-entry. Some survivors of California's devastating wildfires are blasting PG&E tonight. The group behind the Reclaim Our Power Utility Justice campaign hosted a press conference today aimed at, quote, holding the utility accountable. Supporters claim PG&E has had a lack of transparency regarding its role in wildfires, power shutoff, and smoke impacts. They're asking regulators to reject the utility's upcoming safety certificate.
What we need is a takeover of PG&E, not a makeover. They shouldn't get a slap in the wrist and be able to continue business as usual with a track record of a serial killer.
1 week from today, the California Public Utilities Commission will vote to either approve or deny that safety certificate. We have reached out to PG&E, but we haven't gotten a response.
Another dead whale turning up in the Bay Area today at Muir Beach. It's the fourth deceased gray whale found in the last 2 weeks. Yesterday, another one was found near the Berkeley Marina. The Marine Mammal Center's necropsy team is now investigating.
Up next, summer won't look the same in Yosemite. What the park is going to do to keep crowds down. Now, if you plan to visit Yosemite National Park this summer, heads up, it's going to be more challenging. The park will require day-use reservations starting May 21st. The goal is cut down on the crowds during peak months and help prevent the spread of COVID-19. Day-use reservations are already included for visitors staying overnight at the park, from campgrounds to the Ahwahnee Hotel, but still worth it.
Absolutely. It is so beautiful. A great place to just get outside and enjoy nature.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for watching. The news continues streaming on CBSN Bay Area.
Hey, that's a beautiful spot, too. We're back at 11. Enjoy the evening.